Hello, everybody. Senior reporter Brad Johnson here. I'm with Mike Garcia, candidate for Republican Party of Texas chair at this convention. Mike, how's it going?
It's going well, Brad. Thanks for having me here this morning. Bright and early, by the way. So, no, it's going very well.
Hey, you picked the slot.
No. It's going very well. The convention's going well without a hitch so far, right? We'll see what happens. I'm sure there's going to be a drama, as there always is, but everything's going well. Thank you for asking.
You're in the now 7-person field for
Yes.
Texas GOP chair.
I saw that. The water's warm, so anybody. I think the deadline for announcing is passed. So
Yes.
I think we've closed at 7. But yeah.
So why'd you jump into this race? What was the purpose?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I've known you for a long time. Not sure if you know though. I left. So I have a long career in legislative politics. I've been working under the Capitol Dome for almost 20 years. Recently, though, my wife and I have 4 kids. We got a 5th one on the way.
Congratulations.
Thank you. At the end of 4 special sessions last year and an impeachment trial that I was general counsel in, we decided, we need to make a little bit more money for on the horizon. I was doing the budget for the family, and I said, maybe it's time for me to go into private practice and make a little bit more money that way. So I started a wills and probate law firm.
Okay.
And so that's what I'm doing full time now. But I wouldn't really describe it as a full-time job because it's the kind of thing. Don't ever let a probate lawyer charge you too much for uncontested work. I'll just tell you. It's the kind of stuff you can get done in just the early hours of the day. And oftentimes I'm at the court in downtown Austin, which is just 2 or 3 blocks away from the party headquarters. So a lot of people who knew that I was out, once Chairman Rinaldi decided to jump out of the race, gave me a call and they said, hey, we know you're not tied down to the legislature anymore. What would you think about running for party chair? And I knew enough about the position for my initial reaction to be, no, you're crazy. But I didn't know enough about the position for me to not eventually say yes. So here I am. But I've had a lot of fun meeting people all over the state, and I think we have a good chance. And we're just trying to do whatever God wants us to do, and whatever He wants is what we want. So
It's a kind of a convoluted process. SD caucuses, they meet,
Yep.
and then you eventually get to the nominations committee, and then the floor, and there's a whole bunch of things in between.
Yep.
How have you guys, planned your strategy going into this?
Yeah, well, I don't want to disparage any of the other candidates because I've had a pleasure getting to know them on the trail. There were points where we were seeing each other every single day. So despite what you might see out in the news reports, not y'all, by the way. I think y'all have done a good job of staying above the fray. We all kind of like each other, so at least that's what they've told me. I like them a lot. So strategy-wise, it's really just a matter of distinguishing ourselves because most, if not all of us, agree on pretty much 99% of the issues, right? Which makes it very difficult for the delegates. So the way I've been distinguishing myself is with the legislative career that I mentioned. 20 years. I was chief of staff in the House, chief of staff in the Senate. I know how both of those bodies work, and they're very different. Mm-hmm. And I know how to get a bill through both of them. I was executive director and general counsel for the Freedom Caucus, right? Group of conservative folks that you all report on from time to time over in the House. And when I was doing that, we were on the phone with grassroots leaders and members of the legislature. Every 2 weeks, we had a grassroots call where we would invite them on, say, what are we doing right? What are we doing wrong? What would you like to see us do better? And I think that's really what delegates are wanting to see in the legislature. They're angry that the legislature sometimes doesn't listen to what the grassroots, the delegates here at the convention want to see done, platform-wise, strategy-wise. And as with any relationship, I think communication is key. So that's how I've been trying to distinguish myself. Now, if you're talking about particular strategy in terms of...
You don't need to get into that. You don't want to give the game away, right?
Yeah, exactly,
So you mentioned things the legislature hasn't gotten done. There has been a lot that's gotten done,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you were in the middle of that.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Along with the members that you were working for at the time. What do you see as the biggest shortfalls so far? What needs to continue to get done?
Yeah, obviously, we had part of the 4 special sessions we had last session were part of the school choice bill, right? Mm-hmm. And I've been talking to a lot of delegates, and there's a lot of different ways. We have ESAs. We have this new idea I've heard of for it's kind of like a tax write-off for folks who want to send their kids to different schools. They can opt to not. I'm still trying to understand it, but it was a very interesting proposal. So school choice is big, right? We got to get school choice through. I think Governor Abbott on the campaign trail he's
made that clear.
Yes, he has. Yeah. He has. So I have good hopes about that. Obviously, with what came out yesterday about the ability to hack ballots, that's what I think the real story was yesterday.
Absolutely.
That was very concerning when I saw that. I almost got chills saying, gosh, if anybody says that everything is 100% secure at this point, they're probably missing the big picture here. So got to get our election integrity down. One thing I've been talking about on the trail that, again, to distinguish myself, and it's something I sincerely believe, Senator Middleton has been a good friend, and he's a supporter of mine. He was the chair of the Freedom Caucus when I was executive director, and we worked together every day for 3 years. One of his priorities is putting prayer back in public schools. And I know that's controversial for some folks. There is a Supreme Court decision that says we can't do that. But I teach constitutional law over at a Christian undergrad at Concordia University in Austin. And I personally think that the Supreme Court got it wrong. And for me, that's a priority, getting back to a biblical worldview, because I think you can track almost with a exact correlation, right? When we took prayer out of public schools started declining greatly. And even with school choice in the mix, we're still going to have to take care of our public schools.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's a way to do that without getting back to biblical worldview. I think the Supreme Court is ripe for curtailing some of that back, but we got to give them something to work with, otherwise they can't do it.
Yeah. So. Well, that's the thing with precedent's precedent until it's not.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
So last thing I want to ask you about is there's a broader fight over the direction of the Republican Party in Texas. There's all kinds of factions pushing in their own direction. What do you make of the current state of the Republican Party, and how do you improve things going forward?
I'll start with Chairman Rinaldi. He's been a friend for a long time. He was a member of the Freedom Caucus in the House. He and I have a good relationship, and I've heard some people disparage him. I don't agree with that disparagement. His style is a little bit different than mine, and I think he would agree with that. But overall, I think he's done a good job of showing the legislature that, hey, the grassroots exist and you have to listen to us, otherwise there are electoral consequences, and not to mention that they'll make your life miserable at the Capitol if you're not paying attention to them. And the grassroots folks that I know, they're totally okay if we disagree on some things. Maybe not fundamental issues related to the party, right? Those, I think, need to be adhered to by anybody running by the Republican name. If we're talking about little nuances, they're adults and they can get through it, right? Mm-hmm. As long as we're communicating, right? Like I said earlier, communication is key. So I do like the direction Chairman Rinaldi's been taking the party in that regard. I know a lot of people are concerned about fundraising and blame him for that. I think there's a lot of different reasons why people aren't people aren't donating to the party. Inflation is through the roof right now. I do get letters from Chairman Rinaldi saying, would you donate $1,600? And I look at my kids and I said, I'm probably not in a position right now. Yeah, but I think we just need to have more creative ways. I've gotten to know a lot of big pocket folks over the years, but even with the small donors, if each person who voted for President Trump in 2020, 5.3 million people in Texas, gave $1 to the party every month for a year, we'd have over $60 million in the bank. And I know it's hard to get a hold of all of those 5.3 million people, but my point is that I think if we ask for less from more people, we'll have more in the bank.
Interesting.
On top of all of the other big donors.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, but I would like to keep it going in that direction. But my leadership style is a little bit more even keel, and calm in the midst of battle. And this is certainly it's a legislative battle, it's a spiritual battle, and
a political battle.
Of course.
More than anything else, right?
That's right. Yeah.
All right.
Can't forget that. Yeah.
Mike Garcia, thanks for stopping by. Good luck with the rest of the way.
Thank you, Brad.
Okay.
Yeah.